What up, YouTube? Welcome to Chicago Reacts. My name is Jared, as always joined by Kelly, and today we'll be reacting to Napoleon in Russia Part 2 by Epic History.
The first one was pretty good. That actually caught my attention, and because I know we're new to this, so we're learning. So thank you for bearing with us. Thank you for the nice comments as well, and make sure to like and subscribe.
Let's get into the video.
Out of all of them, okay. Out of all 50.
Borodino.
How he's
noted.
It's a cocky thing to say, like he normally is. I had to stop and celebrate his birthday.
September 1812. 10 weeks had passed since Napoleon invaded Russia with more than 500,000 men.
Oh my God.
The French Emperor wanted a quick victory over the Russians, one that would force Emperor Alexander to make peace and agree to French terms. But at Vitebsk and then Smolensk, the outnumbered Russian army had narrowly escaped his clutches. The holy city of Smolensk had been virtually destroyed. Napoleon had advanced deep into Russia, and months of marching had left his army decimated by disease and exhaustion. It was now half its original strength, and summer was nearly over. But finally,
but half its original strength for Napoleon is like full strength for anybody else, really. So they'll be fine. I think they'll be fine, but we'll see.
70 miles west of Moscow, near the village of Borodino, the Russians had turned to offer battle. Napoleon would have a chance to win the decisive victory that he believed would end the war.
That this like happened. I can't like picture it.
He's just trying to fire up the troops.
Commanded by the 67-year-old one-eyed veteran General Kutuzov, occupied a defensive position.
Why does he only have one eye? How did he lose his eye? Anybody know? Let us know down in the comments if you know how Mikhail Kutuzov lost one of his eyes.
Across the two main roads leading from Smolensk to Moscow. General Barclay de Tolly's First Army was on the right, its front protected by the Kalatsha River, steep-banked but shallow and easily forded. Prince Bagration's Second Army was on the left, a more open position but reinforced by major earthworks, the Great Redoubt, and what the French nicknamed for their shape, the Flèche, the arrows. Another forward redoubt at Shevardino was expected to delay the enemy's advance. Historians still dispute the size of the Russian army, but it's likely Kutuzov had around 121,000 men and 680 guns at Borodino.
I think they need more guns.
On the 5th of September, Napoleon's army began to arrive from the west.
Where are they getting
around 130,000 men and 585 guns. Napoleon quickly saw that the Shevardino redoubt would have to be taken before he could deploy his army, and ordered an immediate assault. The attack was led by Compan's 5th Division of the 1st Corps, supported by the Polish 5th Corps to the south. In several hours of heavy fighting, the redoubt changed hands more than once. But late that evening, the Russians finally withdrew to their main line, and the redoubt fell to the French. Its capture had cost them an estimated 4,000 casualties, while the Russians lost around 6,000 men. Napoleon noted how few prisoners were taken, a worrying sign of the enemy's unbroken resolve. Both sides spent the next day preparing for battle. Marshal Davout, commanding French First Corps and widely considered Napoleon's most able subordinate, appealed to the Emperor to use his corps to make a wide, outflanking attack to the south. But Napoleon dismissed the idea as too risky, and instead began preparing for a massive frontal assault on the Russian defenses. Shortly after dawn, on the 7th of September, Orthodox priests paraded one of Russia's holiest icons, Our Lady of Smolensk, before the Russian army. It was a stirring sight for many devout Russian soldiers, thousands of whom would not live to see dusk. The battle began at 6 a.m. as French batteries opened a deafening cannonade against the Russian defenses. Eugene's 4th Corps advanced on Borodino village, lightly held by Jaegers of the Russian Imperial Guard. After clearing the village, his infantry crossed the Kalacha and advanced towards the Great Redoubt, but were driven back with heavy losses. The Russians burned the bridge across the river, but did not launch a counterattack, and Eugene was able to move cannon into the village to put flanking fire on the Great Redoubt.
How do they communicate, like, from all the way over there to what this side's doing? Because obviously no phones or anything. Like, how do they communicate?
It's a good question. It's a good question.
They constantly moving around?
They must have messengers of some sort. Guys, how do they communicate throughout the entire battlefield? Like, is there a messenger or somebody that's kind of going all throughout the scene?
Yeah, because this is the 1800s, right?
Yeah. So, I mean, that's a good question. I don't know the answer to it.
Yeah.
In the center, Davout's 1st Corps began its advance against the Fleches, coming under heavy fire. While on the right, the Polish 5th Corps, ordered to take Utitsa, got held up in the woods and ravines. Their slow advance allowed Tushkov's 3rd Corps to send a division north to reinforce the Fleche defenses. Kutuzov, at his headquarters in Gorky, took little part in the battle, leaving tactical decisions to his subordinates. Barclay and Bagration had spent most of the summer arguing furiously over strategy, but in the hour of crisis, they put their differences aside. They could see the main French attack was falling on the Russian center and left, so Barclay ordered General Bagavout's 2nd Corps south to reinforce Bagration. Fighting around the Fleche intensified as the French captured one of the earthworks, only to be driven out by a Russian counterattack. Davout himself was injured in the fighting as he fell from his dying horse, but he refused to leave the field.
Wow.
When Russian cavalry counterattacked, Marshal Murat himself led the French cavalry forward to meet them. Ney's 3rd Corps now joined the attack on the Fleche.
Oh, man.
A charge by Russian cuirassiers forced Murat to take shelter in a square of Württemberg infantry.
Why do they all look the same?
Murat, with his flamboyant dress and reckless courage, had now even made a name for himself among the Russians. The Cossacks in particular saw him as a kindred spirit, were eager to capture him alive if they could. To the south, Polish troops now took Utitsa, which the Russians set ablaze before withdrawing. But General Bagavout's reinforcements arrived just in time to shore up the Russian flank. Around 10 a.m., Eugene launched another attack on the Great Redoubt. It was briefly captured by Moran's 1st Division, before his men were thrown out by a ferocious Russian counterattack.
There was the Great Redoubt and then another redoubt.
Yeah.
What's the difference between the two? Anybody know? And how many redoubts are there? And also, what does redoubt mean? I know it's a loaded question, but I just don't know what a redoubt is. So let me know down in the comments. Thanks.
The Russian army's 27-year-old artillery commander, General Kutuzov, was killed leading one of these counterattacks. A heroic death, but a blow to the organization of Russian artillery for the rest of the day.
Wow.
Fighting continued to rage around the Flèche earthworks. Some counted as many as 6 major French assaults, involving 45,000 troops, with hundreds of cannon on both sides, pouring fire into the packed ranks. More than once, French infantry fought their way into one of the Russian positions, only to be driven out again at bayonet point. Junot's Westphalian Corps was sent forward in support, helping to clear Russian skirmishers from the woods to the south. General Bagration was close to the action, overseeing the defense of the Flèche, leading forward reinforcements and ordering counterattacks. Around 10 a.m., he was hit in the leg by shell fragments. Mortally wounded, he was carried from the field. Shaken
One by one
the
they
loss
go.
of their iconic commander, the exhausted Russian infantry began to fall back. The French finally took the Flèche. Marshal Murat then led forward Friant's division, First Corps' last reserve, supported by waves of heavy cavalry on both.
Yeah, if you fall back against France, you're in big trouble.
Yeah.
They're coming straight for the jugular.
And this is the one that he said was the worst one, right? The bloodiest one?
Yep.
Or I wonder if there's like a museum or something like at that area. I forget the name. Do you remember?
Some Borodino, I
Borodino
think.
something. Yeah. I wonder if there's like some sort of like memorial or something. For
Great
this.
question. Is there a museum or a memorial? Guys, we don't know. So let us know down in the comments if you do.
Flanks. Russian grenadiers formed squares to ward off the French cuirassiers, while their own guard cavalry fought the French in a giant confused melee, with heavy losses on both sides. The Russians resisted doggedly, but the combined onslaught of French artillery, cavalry, and infantry proved irresistible. As the Russians pulled back, Friant's infantry fought their way into the village of Semyenovskaya. The Russian center was in disarray and seemed close to breaking. Surely now was the time for Napoleon to deliver the knockout blow.
Borodino.
For most of the day, Napoleon remained at his
Crazy.
headquarters near Shevardino.
Wild message.
And the fact that
Those
many
around
people are
him
like, yep,
later
let's go.
said that illness, as well as the exertions of the long campaign, had left him tired and irritable. As the Russian center buckled, Murat and his staff urged him to send forward his last reserve, the Imperial Guard. The Emperor refused. If there is another battle tomorrow, he asked them, where is my army? But he did make one exception. Barclay was continuing to move troops from his unengaged right wing to bolster the center. As Osterman Tolstoy's 4th Corps arrived behind the Russian center, French observers feared they were massing for an attack. So Napoleon ordered forward General Sorbier's Guard artillery. His batteries opened a devastating fire on the enemy. Yet even as they were mown down in their ranks, the Russian infantry stood their ground. On the Russian right wing, all remained quiet, so General Platov, commander of the Don Cossacks, proposed that he lead an attack on the lightly defended Borodino village. Permission received, Generals Platov and Uvarov led a force of 8,000 Cossacks and cavalry across the Kalacha River. They fell on French and Italian troops around Borodino with complete surprise, spreading panic and disorder.
It's quite the ambush right there. Whoever that was, Don Cossack, well played right there. Well played.
I'm curious to know if war or this type of stuff, like battling, was like this now. Would any of you guys be down to like fight, basically?
Would you fight for your country
in this way.
In this way. Just an absolutely ruthless blood battle for your country. Let us know down in the comments. I personally don't know. I don't know if I could. Let's not talk about it. Let's ask you guys.
Yeah.
Let us know.
Grouchy's 3rd Cavalry Corps had to be pulled back across the river to drive off the Russians. Russian commanders saw this raid as a missed opportunity, but it had delayed the next French attack by 2 hours, and may have persuaded Napoleon that he was right to hold back his reserve.
Wow.
Around 3 p.m., the French launched their biggest assault yet on the Great Redoubt. Russian gunners targeted the French infantry advancing to their front, allowing French cavalry to outflank the redoubt and charge it from the rear. Saxon cavalry were first in, cutting down Russian infantry and gunners almost to the last man. It was an astonishing feat by the horsemen, against all the rules of war, and testament to the ferocity of the fighting. As Eugene's infantry consolidated their hold on the redoubt, he ordered forward all the available cavalry to exploit this success. But they were met and checked by the last Russian cavalry reserves. Eugene now implored Napoleon to commit the Imperial Guard, but again the Emperor refused. "I will not destroy my guard," he told his staff. "I am 800 leagues from France, and I will not risk my last reserve." By 5 p.m., both armies were in a state of utter exhaustion. The battlefield was strewn with dead and wounded. Some infantry battalions could muster only a third of their strength. Cavalry could advance no faster than a trot. Gun crews were collapsing with fatigue. As dusk approached, fighting slowly died out across the battlefield. Napoleon and the French army expected the fighting to resume the next day. But by dawn, Kutuzov, having learned the full, horrifying scale of Russian losses, had ordered a withdrawal. The losses on both sides were enormous. Russian casualties are estimated at 44,000. French losses around 30,000, including 49 generals, 12 of them killed. Borodino would prove to be the bloodiest single day of the Napoleonic Wars. The Russian army could not fight another battle until it had received major reinforcements. And so Kutuzov decided that he must abandon Moscow. On the 15th of September, a week after his victory at Borodino, Napoleon entered the city. He would find it virtually deserted, and already the first fires starting to burn.
Borodino.
Yeah.
The bloodiest day in history ever, or just at that time?
I think Napoleon
During Napoleon's time. 44,000 casualties for the French and 30,000 for the Russians, which is just a ridiculous amount of people. I'm curious what is like the average amount of casualties for just a normal battle during this time, because 44,000 is absurd in one day. In one day, no less.
That's alarming. I know. And also, like, because we're coming up to the third part, so I'm just, like, curious, like, how do they have the strength to keep going, like, this whole time? I don't understand.
Napoleon's just, like, he's just, like, made of steel. He just doesn't,
Yeah.
he just doesn't go down, this guy. It's unbelievable.
That's crazy.
Yeah, so part 3 is about to get wild. But thank you guys for watching this video. Be sure to like and subscribe, and check out our other videos as well. If there's any other videos you'd like us to react to, let us know down in the comments, and we'll see you guys next time.